Welcome to the Rachel Varga podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Varga, double board certified aesthetic nurse specialist since 2011 with over 20,000 rejuvenation procedures performed. I'm an international clinical trainer for other physicians and nurses as well, celebrity skin expert, having been featured on some of the world's top proactive aging podcasts, and much, much more. Learn more at rachelvarga.ca and enjoy today's episode. Hello, friends. It's great to be hanging out with you all here today on the Rachel Varga podcast. And in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing my secrets for glowing skin. I'm not going to keep all these secrets to myself. Trust me, I'm going to be sharing them. And I'm going to be sharing what has helped me and my clients get the glowing skin that they desire. Let me know who's here in the comment section. I would love to interact with each and every one of you live. So please, I have a poll actually on YouTube. So when you join me on YouTube, I'm going to be doing some polls. So I'm curious how many of you want to see me do or hear me do more solo episodes, because I really want to make content that you guys all want. So let me know, light up the comment section if you have any questions about how to get glowing skin in today's episode, and if you want to see more solo episodes. So just a kind of disclaimer here that for different skin and beauty products and supplements, there are going to be specific recommendations I'm going to make for each and every one of my clients. So I can't really make like broad specific recommendations. I just did an interview with Orshi for the Women's Biohacking Conference. And she asked me this question. She's like, Rachel, what's like the one skincare kit that you can recommend? Well, I can't, because say, for example, someone like myself, I like using a sunscreen that's going to give a little bit more of like a matte finish. Some people want to be using more of a dewy type of sunscreen that's going to give like a glassy, shiny kind of finish. Or they might prefer like a gel or cream cleanser, or a serum or gel or moisturizer as their hydration, and also different types of at-home peels and all of those types of options. So depending on what you need, I can make specific recommendations for you. And if you have any questions about products that I'll reference in today's episode, please don't be a stranger. I'd love to hear from you. Email me info@rachelvarga.ca, and I will be more than happy to assist you that way. So what are my top secrets for glowing skin? This is kind of a really hard question for me to answer. What are my top secrets for glowing skin? Because it's never going to be one thing. It really is cultivating your body, mind, spirit, energy practices, because what those all are going to do is help you become your most vibrant and radiant version. We can't get great skin. We can't like outwit an ishy lifestyle with great skincare if our lifestyle is making us inflamed. And if you haven't checked out my last solo episode on the root cause of aging, I highly recommend that after this session, you go and check that one out, because I talk about how inflammation can really speed up our aging process. And what we want to do is slow our aging process. So what are my top secrets for glowing skin? You got to start biohacking. Number one, you have to start biohacking. A lot of my clients that I work with, they either have started biohacking, they've been doing it for a couple of years, or they're completely new to it. So on the show here, I definitely talk about a couple of different strategies to employ. And my favorite biohacking options are all listed on my favorites page over at rachelvarga.ca. So number one, you have to start biohacking. Number two, you have to know when to push and when to retreat and hermit. This is I've really been hermiting over the last 2 months, just to, full disclaimer, because as when you show up online and you do this type of work that I do, for you guys tuning in here, you might just be, watching at home. You're like, oh my gosh, I can never show up online and do what Rachel does. Yeah, it's not the easiest, but I actually get a lot from it. And I love to interact with you. There's a bunch of people on live. Let me know who you are in the comment section. Just say your name and let me know any questions you have for glowing skin. But we will definitely not be our most accurate representation of ourselves if we're showing up in our work meetings or with our friends and family member if we're not in a good place ourselves. So say, for example, over the last couple of months, there's just been a lot of stuff happening in Canada, a lot, and it's having this trickle down effect to the rest of the world. If you follow me on social media at Rachel Varga Official on Instagram, I'm definitely sharing a bunch of things there, some like intel as well, so that you can stay updated with what's happening. But sometimes we need to take a break from all this stuff. And sometimes we need to take a break from actually opening up ourselves to even our friends and family members. So this is kind of a little bit of like a spiritual protection type of option that I can recommend that some of you start to employ if you're resonating with that. If you've ever heard the word hermit mode, trust me, you are in a fabulous company. If this is the first time you're hearing of that word, hermit mode, I encourage you to sometimes give your body, mind, spirit, and energy the grace that it needs to just slow the heck down sometimes. There's a reason why I haven't burnt out over the last couple of years, and that is because I track my biohacking metrics. So say, for example, my HRV is in a downturn. That is an indicator that my body actually isn't recovering very well. So when we start to get in tune with our bodies and notice when we're not sleeping as well, and also looking at different metrics like our HRV, we can absolutely know when our body needs to just spend a little bit more time recovering. And why I'm stressing this is because if you want to have glowing skin, you have to be able to maintain your energy, vibration, and radiance at a certain level. Okay. So if you're like a low vibe individual, you're eating McD's, fast food, you're eating processed foods, you're not drinking filtered water, maybe you don't even have access to clean water. This is definitely something that is certainly a privilege. I recognize that. But do everything you can to limit your inflammatory triggers. So that's what I talked about in my last episode, the root cause of aging. Please go back and check that one out. There's lots of tidbits in there. So the other thing I want to talk about in regards to my top secrets for glowing skin, unfortunately, in my last solo episode, and I don't use the word unfortunately lightly, I actually had issues with monetizing that episode. And the reason why is because I mentioned certain words, and those certain words include different nutrients that it's just such a shame. It's like I can't actually share on these platforms what really like the meat of slowing your aging is and the different ingredients and nutrients that I encourage to start to utilize in order to reduce oxidative stress, free radical damage in and around your body. Because here's the connection here. Your IMM, okay, you know what, I'm going to go there. I can't actually say that word. This is just ridiculous. It bothers me to no end. It's such a shame. But when you support your IMM aspects of yourself, you're going to be running at, you're basically just going to be allowing your body's machinery to be able to ward off different pathogens, if you will. And the same thing will go towards your aging. So say, for example, you're eating a not so great diet, you're going to be having inflammation in your gut. Harvard study says that leaky gut is a thing where we have these inflammatory mediators that can leave our gut and actually end up accessing the rest of our body. So what that's going to do is manifest in the skin as redness, hyperpigmentation, loss of elastin and collagen, and also accelerated aging. So another secret that I have for glowing skin is making sure that you are taking those certain nutrients that I actually can't say specific words here. So email me, book a one-on-one, take my skin camp programs. That's where it's just like I have at her. There's no filter in that way of communicating with me, but I do have to do that here, which is really a shame. So I already took my skin nutrients today, and superoxide dismutase is an ingredient that hasn't been flagged here, which is good. But that is really helpful for helping to neutralize free radicals in your body. So what a free radical is basically like an environmental toxin or something that's come in through your food or even dirt, dust, debris that's floating around the air. And when it contacts your skin, it's actually going to create inflammation and oxidative stress on the skin. So taking your skin nutrients every single day, I can help you optimize what that is based on your specific needs. So say you're wanting to focus on fine lines, wrinkles, or say you're wanting to focus on like hyperpigmentation, there's definitely some different recommendations I'll make for that. But really want to be hitting your basics with your antioxidants, your omegas, and your collagen. I am sipping on some Golden Elixir turmeric collagen here. Ooh, it is just so good. It's kind of a little bit sweet. It's got some stevia and monk fruit in it. If you want it, let me know. I've been taking this one consistently once or twice a day for the last, I'd say, month or two, and I really notice a difference in my skin. But if you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're noticing that your eyes are like a little bit red or a little bit puffy, this is definitely an indicator that there's some inflammation running in the background. And I've actually done some research with a specific line, looking at before and after photos with my clients and actually noticing more of this like brightness to my clients' eyes. It just helps us to look a little bit more alert. So we're not having much puffiness, so we don't look quite so tired. So are there certain actives and nutrients that we can take internally that are proven to help our skin glow? 100%. The options that I work with are backed by third-party independent lab testing and research. I am an independent researcher also. So superoxide dismutase, omegas, different antioxidants are all great. And the awesome thing is that when you are taking really good nutrients, all of the different physiological mechanisms and machinery in your body will start to work better as well. So what are my top recommendations for skin improvement for both at home and in the clinic? With at home, you really want to make sure that you have a dialed in at home skincare routine. So that's where I come in. You just simply let me know like what your skin type is, what some of your skin goals are, what you've tried in the past. I do like to work with maybe some of the products that you already have and like live go through in a consult which products you could work through and which ones you actually have to stop using right away. So in regards to at-home products, we have to be really careful so that we're not exposing ourselves to toxins. And skincare toxins that we absolutely need to avoid are our parabens, phthalates, sulfates, artificial dyes, fragrances, and of course not testing on animals, and absolutely avoiding chemical sunscreen filters. So if you have a sunscreen at home right now, I want you to grab it and I want you to look at the back of the sunscreen bottle and I want you to find where it says medicinal ingredients and non-medicinal ingredients. Under medicinal ingredients, it's either going to say like zinc and titanium or avobenzone and oxybenzone. If it says zinc and titanium, awesome, keep using it. But a lot of mineral sunscreens do have talc mixed in there as well. And there have been certainly some issues with talc, even in the media over the last couple of years. But if you're seeing things like avobenzone and oxybenzone, you need to stop using them right away because those sunscreens are actually containing ingredients that are hormone disrupting. And the last thing that we need, depending on where we are in our lives, if we're perimenopausal, menopausal, or postmenopausal, or men, the last thing we want to do is mess with our hormones, mess with our libido, and potentially predispose us to other things. As y'all know, this isn't medical advice. This is educational information only. If you think you have a medical condition, you must seek the guidance of a licensed physician. So when it comes to in-clinic skin rejuvenation improvement options, there's so many options on the market. We have our IPL, we have deep fractionated laser options, we have chemical peels, we have microneedling, we have PRP, we have radio frequency, we have ultrasound. There's so many different options for in-clinic skin rejuvenation. And I do have opinions and a short list as to which in-clinic rejuvenation lasers and treatments I personally like to receive myself and like to recommend, because what helps me decide on whether an in-clinic option is worthwhile or not is the cost and the outcome, and also the amount of time spent recovering. Different laser options have kind of like different levels to all those three things that I mentioned. There's a lot of CRAP available in the clinics these days. A lot of them are just there to kind of make money. In case you don't know this, a lot of clinics are now bought by corporate companies. So what do you think their bottom line is? cash money, right? The bottom line for a lot of these in-clinic options is the dollars. So this is really difficult for you to know when you go into the clinic, whether or not you're actually getting recommended something that's going to work, something that's going to be worth your hard-earned money, whether or not that downtime is going to be worth it. So some lasers have downtime of, 3 to 4 days of redness, and some are going to be like 10 to 14 days. So there's definitely a range, but it really depends on what your skin type is and what your skin goals are. So that's where having that one-on-one consultation with me is definitely the way to learn which options could be right for you, because there's so many out there. There's definitely a lot of in-clinic options that are really kind of gimmicky. You'll see them on social media. You'll see celebrities talking about them. They were paid a lot of money to talk about that procedure, probably. So the rejuvenation world, one of my clients yesterday, she said that she's really fed up with the industry. And I would actually like to agree with her, because a number of aesthetic doctors and nurses, they just really don't understand this concept of toxicity, and also just age extension and slowing aging in general. They're pretty much just like tunnel vision. Okay, do this rejuvenation option. We'll see you in a month. There's so much more than that. So what I do is I actually help my clients find different clinics that have the laser options that I like, or maybe I've even taught those clinicians as well. Some of my research backed, and actually like basically what I publish for improvements of the eye area. So there's even some options for skin improvement in the clinic for lifting the brows, opening up the eyes, reducing crow's feet, slimming and sharpening up the jowl, the jawline, shrinking the jowl, actually improving things like orange peel, effect to the chin, necklace lines, hyperpigmentation, hypopigmentation, melasma, rosacea, broken capillaries, acne. So the list kind of goes on. So there isn't like one laser that's going to do it all, but there is actually one that does a whole bunch of those things. But I'm not going to say the specific name because it might not be right for your skin type, and I don't want to be liable for any issues with that. So that's where the one-on-one sessions they come in handy. All right, here we go. So what concerns do I have regarding skin nutrients and some of the gimmicks I see online? One of my past videos was talking about JLo and how she had her skincare line and supplement line that she was doing pre-orders for. And I see this a lot. I see a lot of these like hyped up skincare products and supplement lines that when you go and pre-order, you actually can't find the actual ingredient list before you even purchase it. You need to start to become smarter consumers in absolutely every aspect of your life. What you're eating, what type of media you're consuming, who you're hanging out with. We need to be really hyper-focused with how we are spending our time and energy, and what we are allowing actually into our field, whether that be unconscious or subconsciously. So if you ever have a question about a product that you're seeing online, please, by all means, email me and say, hey, Rachel, what do you think about this? I'll let you know in an email or in a consultation or in my skin camps how I feel about that particular one. But I'm not into like bashing certain lines or certain influencers here on the show. That's really not my style. But I will say that when it comes to dermal rolling, so I have my dermal roller right here. Love dermal rolling, but I just want to be really honest with you that there's a lot of influencers online that don't really know much about dermal rolling. They don't have really a skin background at all. They're an influencer. They're probably paid to promote that specific roller and then get a kickback and all that stuff. And then they show techniques, and then the techniques are actually quite poor. So this is something that, I would love to actually do a video on this where I go through different videos of different influencers actually showing off their dermal rolling technique, because when I watch them, I kind of cringe. So you guys probably get a kick out of the faces that I make when I see them, but that is not really my style. So in more private communication, I will be very honest, but I've seen different influencers take like 2 rollers and they go like this all over their face. You don't want do that. I actually have a really lovely dermal rolling guide that I'm more than happy to send to you. Just shoot me an email, info@rachelvarga.ca. All my clients get this dermal rolling guide as well, as to how exactly to use this roller, how to clean it properly, and which products to use alongside it. Because when we are dermal rolling the skin, we're actually creating these little channels of skin, we're creating a little channel of injury into the skin as we would aerate the lawn, if you will. And then we can actually apply different products into those little holes on the skin after dermal rolling to be absorbed 100 to 1,000 times deeper into the skin. So this is where having correct guidance with dermal rolling comes in handy, so that you're not inadvertently exposing yourself to toxins. One of the things with I should actually do a whole episode on dermal rolling. Let me know if you'd like me to do that. But some dermal rollers, so we're talking about gimmicks here still, are actually full of heavy metals. So the needles themselves aren't like a stainless steel or titanium. They're actually a metal alloy. So metal alloys, the word alloy is kind of like a mix of different metals. And some of those metals could actually be very toxic on the skin. And you're literally puncturing your skin with these tiny needles, or up close, the needles on the roller aren't needles, they're blades, or they could rust, or they actually can come out and embed themselves into the skin. So when I meet with clients, they say, oh yeah, I've already purchased a roller. It was like $15-20, or it was like $200. They let me know where they purchased them from. I can take a look and let them know if it's a legitimate one or if it's kind of like a hyped one. But you do not want to also get this confused. You don't want to get dermal rolling confused with using like a jade roller, if you will. So using like jade rollers or gua sha is going to be supportive of lymphatic drainage. And then using your dermal roller is going to be supportive of things like promoting collagen and helping to reduce hyperpigmentation and get more glassy skin. So that's why I'm mentioning dermal rolling alongside gimmicks, because rolling can certainly be helpful for getting more glowing skin via the mechanism of promoting collagen. And then those other types of gimmicks out there for facial gua sha and jade rollers, they're just going to be moving lymphatic drainage around in the on the face, neck, and chest. I love to actually do lymphatic drainage on my entire body, especially in the summertime when I'm showing off my stomach a little bit more, because it can just help flush out excess fluid that's accumulated, and your lymphatic system will kind of absorb it, and then you'll excrete any excess fluid or toxins when you go to the ladies' room or the gentleman's room. So those are basically some of the key gimmicks that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of like white label skincare products, white label supplements, really low quality rollers online, jade rollers. Oh, another thing are LED face masks. So I have my red light going here. I literally use red light therapy every morning and evening. I will be doing a separate episode coming up, actually just on red light therapy itself. But here's what you need to know about red light therapy. Using it in the morning and evening is great for circadian rhythm balancing, especially when you're in more of like a northern hemisphere, like where I live. I don't have a ton of access to really nice bright sunlight throughout the year. So supplementing it with red light can be helpful. Basically the rule of thumb is 10 minutes per body area a day. So what I'll do is I'll have my red light therapy going in the bathroom while I'm, say, doing my skincare and all that in the bath. And then I get out. I don't take my red light therapy in the tub. I have it in the room, nowhere near where, because obviously you don't want to get electrocuted. But then once I get out and I'm doing my skincare and my makeup, doing my hair in front of the mirror at the counter, the vanity, I'll have the red light actually behind me to get the back of my legs and my back. So about 10 minutes a day per body area is the general rule of thumb for red light therapy. And I love it. I notice I sleep better when I use my red light therapy in the evening, and I just like it. It kind of just makes your whole morning and evening routine just a little bit more special, and I do enjoy the benefits of it. But there are a lot of gimmicks with red light therapy out there. So those masks that you can put on your face or the separate standalone neck ones, a lot of those products are actually just like an LED with a red film over top of them. So if you go to my favorites page over at rachelvarga.ca, you will see a specific red light therapy device that I like. Oh, the brand name is Juve. So on my favorites page, there's affiliate link and a promo code to help save some money and also help to support this channel here. But there are a lot of gimmicks when it comes to red light therapy. And also, just because a red light therapy device puts out more energy doesn't mean it's better. Same thing goes with lasers. Just because a laser puts out more energy doesn't mean it's better. In fact, too much energy, too much of a good thing can actually be a not so good of a thing. So let me know if any questions are coming up for you guys tuning in here as to my top skin nutrients and the gimmicks that I see online. But when it comes to glowing and radiant skin, I really just kind of like want to share what I see my most vibrant and radiant clients doing. And that really is biohacking. It's taking charge of their health and their wellness. It's not following the latest trend. It's becoming really in tune and intuitive with every aspect of your life, body, mind, spirit, energy. And that's what this podcast is really all about. So you're not going to get, all of the secrets for glowing skin in one like 30-minute episode. It is going to take a little bit of time for you to start to integrate these different options and then just kind of see and feel what's going to be working for you in accordance with your budget and lifestyle. And of course, I'm more than happy to help you navigate that, because it can be, especially with biohacking, can be like a little bit of the wild, wild west, if you will. You can spend a lot of money on biohacking technologies. But one of the other free things that I'd love to encourage is actually grounding. So when we're talking about glowing skin, when our skin is happy and healthy, it's getting a lot of blood flow. If our skin isn't getting great blood flow, it's going to actually take on a bit of like this sort of dusky gray type of hue. It's not going to have good blood flow and perfusion. And we actually see this in smokers. If you are a smoker, I'm not going to harp on you. I think you already know what you need to do. Number of people closest to me are smokers. And they're like, Rachel, how can I make my skin better? I'm like, quit smoking. Because when you do, within about, even just a couple of weeks, you'll start to notice that yellow duskiness go away. And you'll start to get more of like that pink perfusion color back in your skin. It will actually happen quite quickly. So this is because your skin is getting better oxygenation. And what carries oxygen throughout our body are our red blood cells. So here is a free tip for one of my top secrets for glowing skin. And that is actually to take your shoes off and contact the earth for about 20 to 30 minutes a day. And I'm going to explain the science of this to you right now. When we are, say, on our devices all the time, we're on our computer, we're on our phone, we have like cell phone towers obviously everywhere now, we are getting bombarded with electromagnetic frequencies, or EMFs. Even that word will probably impact this episode from getting out on social media. It's actually really sad. But anyways, I digress. You really need to understand that when you are constantly in these electromagnetic fields, what they're doing to your red blood cells is actually, usually a red blood cell looks like a donut, if you will, right? So if you ever seen like those microscopic slides of red blood cells under the microscope, they look like these little donuts floating around. So ideally, we want those donuts to be nicely, evenly spaced apart, and that's going to be mediated through appropriate ionic interactions, right? So we have positive and negative ions and electromagnetic, electrochemical gradients. And when the electromagnetics are balanced in your body, your red blood cells are going to be nicely, evenly spaced apart. Now, if we're not grounded, so say, for example, we've been sitting on our laptop for a couple hours, we've been on our phone for too long, what's going to happen is we become actually too positive. We develop too many protons, which are positive ions in our body. And that actually contributes to those little donuts, those red blood cells, starting to actually like stick together and stack on one another. And what that does when those It's called gluing. What that does with your red blood cells when it moves through your blood vessels is that they're going to clump together, and you're actually not going to get as good of blood flow to your tissues. So here is the tie-in here. Making sure that your body is grounded every single day will actually lead to better blood flow and better perfusion of your skin. That may very well be the first time you've heard about that link as to why EMFs may be bad for you or your skin, but there are actually PubMed articles. You can search this EMF in the skin. EMFs actually impact the skin by creating inflammation, oxidative stress directly on the skin, and also irritation to the eyes. So unfortunately, electromagnetics and EMFs are a part of our lives. So if you can at least just do 20 to 30 minutes a day of contacting your feet to the earth, no, it's not just like this crazy like woo thing. It's actually really important to helping you have glowing skin via the mechanism of better blood flow and perfusion to your skin. If your skin doesn't get good blood flow, it will literally die. So one of the biggest risks with something like dermal fillers, so dermal filler is an injectable containing like hyaluronic acid. There's also like BDDE in there and some other products that help to bind the hyaluronic acid chains. So this can actually, fillers can be utilized to create volume in the face. So you can actually do fillers to the cheeks, to the lips, the marionette zones, a couple of different areas to basically, we get like this deflation and separation and shrinking of our fat compartments in our face. There's actually really good study on the different fat compartments. And you can actually readily find that online. If you just look up like on PubMed or whatever, the fat compartments of the face, you'll find it. So we have fat compartments in the temple, the cheek, around the mouth. And what happens is they kind of like shrink and then they separate and then they descend. So in our faces, we lose bone, we lose soft tissue, collagen, and we also lose fat. Okay. So that's where fillers can come in handy. But a lot of my clients, they don't want injectable options. That's fine. There's other options that are available. I'm just using hyaluronic acid dermal fillers as an example here to talk about blood flow. So unfortunately, when a filler is applied, there sometimes can be a side effect, and that can be actually that gel of hyaluronic acid being injected and blocking blood flow. It can actually block a blood vessel. And what can happen is the tissue that's past where that blood flow blockage has happened can actually die because that skin isn't getting adequate perfusion. So when we jump back around to the gimmicks, you probably, oh my gosh, okay, this is going to turn into a big rabbit hole here. But do you guys remember the hyaluron pens where people all like online were buying these high pressure hyaluronic acid pens and literally trying to do their own lips and filler at home? Do you guys remember that? Is it everywhere over the last couple of years, especially with people being at home a little bit more, clinics being closed? People were really desperate. How can we do this stuff at home? How can we save some money? And the hyaluron pens, they became a huge problem. So it's like this high pressure pen that pushes hyaluronic acid into the skin, but that's not how fillers are ever applied. In a clinic, a clinician is never going to be using a high pressure pen to do your cheeks, lips, jawline, or whatever. It doesn't happen. So this was an incidence of a gimmick, an example of a gimmick that was actually really dangerous. There certainly are some gimmicks out there that are dangerous, and this was one of them. They were actually never Health Canada approved. So the order of regulation goes UK, Canada, USA. So this stuff was available across the US. And a number of years ago, I was attending a wonderful International Society of Plastic Surgical Aesthetic Nursing conference. And we were talking about a lot of these at-home issues because there's all these influencers out there these days that think they know everything, but really don't know a thing. And they're talking about at-home microneedling and at-home hyaluron pens and all this stuff. And there were these really big influencers out there. We're talking like millions of followers that were unfortunately really leading people astray, doing, potentially very dangerous things. So a lot of clinicians, my colleagues in the USA, saying, how can we help stop this? Actually, one of my colleagues, Julie, even went on the doctor show with this particular influencer. It's just like, you need to stop doing this because you're causing harm. And as a healthcare provider, we're always wanting to look at ways to reduce harm as much as possible. So this particular gimmick with the high pressure hyaluronic acid pen was just a huge issue. And when people have issues, guess who they ring up? They ring up a plastic surgeon or an aesthetic nurse near them to say, hey, can you fix this? But the thing is, with some of these gimmicks with a hyaluron pen, you don't even know what that liquid is or gel is that's getting, pushed into the skin. So then clinicians go to try and dissolve it with the kind of antidote for hyaluronic acid, which is Hylenex or hyaluronidase. It wasn't dissolving. So that liquid that's supposed to be hyaluronic acid could have really been absolutely anything. So we also see this. This is like a huge rabbit hole, and something I'm really passionate about is promoting safety, especially in the aesthetics industry, which thank goodness has been very well received in pretty much all of my academic articles that I've been writing. I'm speaking to the effect of we need to promote safety. We need to do a lot of patient education, also limiting potentially treatments for people that have a lot of different underlying health conditions that may make them more susceptible to inflammatory types of side effects and unknown side effects. And it's been very well received and peer reviewed and all of that, which I'm very grateful for, because when you're a little bit of a disruptor in the industry, you never know how it's going to be taken. And the first time I presented, actually, in San Diego a couple of years ago, talking about eye rejuvenation and telling people to not do tear trough fillers, it was actually extremely well received. And if you've ever heard of the term of like tear trough fillers, it's basically filler that is sometimes applied in the lower eyelid area in the tear trough to help with like dark circles, lower eye bags. But in my experience, I was just seeing nothing but problems with it. And every new injector that I was teaching was wanting to learn tear troughs first. And it's literally one of that like the least ideal places to treat on the face. It can actually be really dangerous. So you can actually get like blindness from it. I kid you not. Blindness and blocking blood flow are definitely issues that we can get from dermal fillers, hyaluronic acids. So this is kind of along the lines of really popularized treatments on social media. What you may see like an immediate result from some of these providers and before and after photos, but you don't always see the after effect a couple of months later, or even a couple of years later, with swelling, migration, all sorts of things. So these rejuvenation options and gimmicks are not without harm. So that's really what I aim to do here, is to help you all stay on the straight and narrow, so that you don't expose yourself to these things that just are straight up not safe. So I actually wasn't planning on talking about the hyaluron pen and all that, but I think it's really good for you to know also just some history in the aesthetics industry, how gimmicks kind of play into providers, where we're like, okay, we're seeing this a lot in the public. This is an issue. How can we provide awareness to help reduce harm? So one of the things that, my top colleagues across North America and the world, what we decided to do is actually pull off all of our treatment videos of like us actually showing rejuvenation treatments, because the issue with that was different influencers were seeing those videos and then trying to do them at home, or you have these unregulated who knows who people putting up these courses for fillers and Russian lips and all this stuff, and they have no credentials. They do not really know anything of what they're talking about, but they're seeing really highly regarded practitioners showing their treatment videos online and then trying to copy it and going from those videos. So there's been huge issues, especially with injectables over the last couple of years in the online space with influencers and gimmicks. So that's why you guys are all here, to become more conscious consumers and be able to spot these gimmicks and potential harmful things from a mile away. This is actually also one of the reasons why I don't do like peel tutorials or dermal rolling tutorials online for free for the masses to see. I do those only in private sessions where I can provide appropriate guidance, and we have a contract when we're in that. So that is what you can access, those live dermal rolling demos, tutorials, all that stuff through one-on-one sessions, or also through my skin cams. So it's just important for you to know that, because trust me, I would love to do a live dermal rolling demo for free here online, but unfortunately it is not the most appropriate way to share that information. So there's a lot of free information out there these days. There's a lot of really bad subpar information out there these days. So I'm really happy that you found me here on the show, the Rachel Varga podcast and YouTube, so that I can help you, keep you on the straight and narrow. And it's also important for you to know that as an active researcher, I'm also aware of the research pretty much as it's coming out. I mean, I'm even a peer reviewer on a journal. So I look at research even before it's even published, and then can give my 2 cents on it as well, which I love to do. It helps to keep me sharp. It helps, it really kind of lights me up. So when we're talking about secrets for glowing skin, when you are lit up on the inside, your skin is going to be a direct reflection of that. If you are living a life that you are unhappy with, your skin is going to be a reflection of that, primarily from the concept of, say, adrenal fatigue, or you're not exercising as much, or you're not meditating as much, or praying, or have some type of spiritual connection. Body, mind, spirit, energy practices really are the foundation for starting to cultivate radiance. And that is actually, I've learned all about the other stuff, the rejuvenation stuff, but the whole radiance part is really what fascinates me, and how biohacking and different skin nutrients can all help to contribute to radiance and glowing skin, not just for now, but also for many more years to come. And the cool thing about us is we have an opportunity, all of us, to lead by example. There's always youngsters watching us, okay? And I really feel for, especially going back to like Gimmicks and things like this, I see a lot of my clients, one of my lovely clients yesterday, she has a 9-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old daughter. She's like, Rachel, can you do a consult for them as well? And it's absolutely, but they don't need a full one. So they just need like a 30-minute follow-up. So I talk about that when you have a one-on-one with me, that you can book at rachelvarga.ca. All my links are in the description box below. But it's really important that we actually encourage the younger generation to be more aware of the toxins in their skincare and beauty products, because basically a teenage girl, or a young girl in their 20s, they're like a walking hormone. And the last thing we want to be doing is potentially exposing them to toxins that may actually even lead to hormonal disruptions, reproductive issues, but also mood issues. Okay. So not only are these, young women a walking hormone, but then if you add to the mix inflammatory triggers like parabens, phthalates, sulfates, artificial dyes, fragrances, they're going to mess with hormone production and all of that, which can actually, when you're toxic, really impair your brain's ability to function. So this is where making sure that you're aware who's watching you, leading by example, and always encouraging really clean product use. You want clean, but you also want it to work and be efficacious. So for example, yesterday, I did a lovely consultation for a client, and we were going through her skincare products, and yes, they were all clean. I was actually really proud of her, and she might actually even be on this call here. She did a really good job at researching, making sure she'd listened to a couple episodes here on the show, which is awesome. So if you're considering booking a consultation with me, I want you to binge a couple episodes first and then meet with me. And it'll just help to kind of help you understand, because we go super deep in my one-on-one consult sessions, and my skin camps are an expansion of everything we cover in a consult, which is your customized guidance. But my heart really goes out to these younger humans that are really exposing themselves to toxic products that are made by all these influencers and celebrities, but they want to like look cool. They want to show off to their friends that they're using this like new makeup palette and all this skincare stuff, but they don't know. You don't know until you know. And they definitely don't know at that age, teens and early 20s, that what they could be putting in and around their bodies and on their bodies could actually be promoting harm. And we don't want to be harming our younger generation. We want to be mama bearing and protecting them. So we can lead by example for those of you listening who have children to, maybe even encourage them to watch some of these videos. To promote awareness. And please, when you're scrolling your social media and you see a beauty product or a gimmick, and it just seems too good to be true, with that before and after photo just seems way too good to be true, it probably is. Usually another aspect here to think about is when you're seeing a before and after photo, there is often a number of rejuvenation options that have been utilized to get that after effect. I've seen this so many times. For example, like an eye cream or an eye serum, and then an after photo, and the person looks way better, but they've actually had like upper or lower eyelid surgery or even a facelift, and I can tell this stuff, but to the layperson, it's really difficult to be able to tell that. So thank you so much for joining me here on the Rachel Varga podcast. I certainly spoke to a few things I wasn't planning on talking about, but it's kind of fun just keeping these live. These are always live, raw, and unedited. Because that's kind of like when the juicy stuff comes out. I'm way more fun when I'm off the cuff though. So that's in the one-on-one consults in my skin camp. So please subscribe, like, and share this episode with a friend, and many blessings to you and your loved ones. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you taking this ride with me. And I am currently accepting new one-on-one clients. I invite you to schedule your consultation with me at rachelvarga.ca. Use promo code podcast15 for 15% off of your booking. And I literally have the best clients in the world. If you're a client of mine, I just want to say thank you so much. Your supporting of me over these last few years has just meant probably more than you will ever know. And thank you, all of you, for your kind words and encouragement and topic requests, where you actually just send me an email at info@rachelvarga.ca. And let me know what you'd like to learn more about, what type of content you're enjoying, learning more about. Please let me know. And like I said, your support means more than you know. info@rachelvarga.ca is the best way to reach me. And also for those specific nutrient ingredients and products, I honestly, I can't say it online for free anymore. It's really frustrating because I'd love to, but I can't. And also join me in my next skin camp, which begins in a few weeks. If you don't know what my skin camps are, every season I do these 6-week programs where I walk you through how to apply your skincare products, your makeup, talk about super clean hair care. We do deep dives into biohacking, women's health, hormone support. And that's where I do my live dermal rolling demos, and also advanced protocols and peels and all sorts of things. And just so you know, you can register for my next skin camp at rachelvarga.ca and access early bird savings and also VIP savings for 15% off all skincare, nutrients, rollers, and peel kits. So that's a great way to kind of save. So a lot of my clients actually even take my skin camps seasonally, because that's a really great way. Say you've already had a consultation with me. That's where you're going to be getting your customized recommendations from me with your at-home routine, and also some in-clinic recommendations as well. You get ongoing support from me. And then the skin camps is a huge expansion of all of that stuff. So do a little bit of background homework before having a consult with me, and then you'll just be able to integrate it. But I love giving my clients a plan that they can follow at home and really take the guesswork and all of that. So if you're curious about everything that's involved in working with me one-on-one and skin camps, that's all at rachelvarga.ca. You can click on the book consultation. You'll see everything that's included. And then you can also click on Skin Camp and see everything that's included in there too. If you have any questions, by all means, shoot me an email, info@rachelvarga.ca, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you everyone for tuning in with me here today on the Rachel Varga podcast. Many blessings to you and your loved ones.